Alexis Morgan, how are you?
Good. I'm smiling so that when you get that photo of me that you put up on Instagram or on YouTube, you can get a good photo. I'm caring about that at the moment. I'm great. Thanks, Matt.
Don't fake it. I'll find a photo of you. Although the first time you came in and I did a thumbnail and you required that I redo the thumbnail with a different picture, that shit was hilarious. Water under the bridge, dear. That was 2023.
That was 2023.
That was, I think it was like August or September 23, right before the school board meeting.
It was October.
Yeah. It was October?
It was October.
I was off by 30 days. Yeah, I suppose I could have pulled it up. But did we meet in October or did it publish in October?
I think we met and it published in October.
Well, I think
it was all the same thing.
I think you know when it was published. I don't think you have recordation of.
No, do you want to know how I know? Because I can look back on my podcast and see when I posted stuff, and I know that my second one came out before November, but it was in October that I got the idea for the second episode.
I'm pulling this up right now.
That's fine. You can pull it up. I can't wait. I can't wait to be right.
It may have been October 25th.
You can say it. You can say it.
God bless it. You were right, woman. There we go. Okay. Listen, we're here to talk about a very, very special event that's near and dear to my heart. Something that is community driven. The PTA, state PTA is participating in, but essentially saying, look, social media is a problem, just like drugs are problems. Okay. But like you and I could both be drunk. We could be high. We could be stoned right now, but we're not, because we have health in our community, in our life outside of what we're doing. So we're not compelled towards drugs. Teens are struggling with a world that is centered around social media, and they do not have a healthy, balanced alternative outside of that, which means it leads to more addiction, more using. And yeah, it's really bad. Like, people have a tendency to, especially teens, have a tendency to get out of control with social media. But man, if the adults in the room don't intentionally create communities that teens can exist in and thrive in, that are alternatives to social, we're in trouble. This event, the More Social, Less Media, is a big step in that direction. Talk to me about it.
Okay, so More Social, Less Media, a community summit, is going to be happening on Saturday, April 26th from 12 to 4. And it's going to be at Eagle High School. And everyone's invited. Like, we literally want everyone there. And I remember one time we were doing something together and it's like, yeah, we have this thing. And sometimes people feel like, one more thing to go to. But here's what I have observed and have experienced myself. We need to have social experiences. That is so important to have human interaction. It just is. And it's also important for us as adults to create and foster those for teenagers. I heard someone say recently, like, okay, you take your kid's cell phone away because you finally realize all the bad things that they can actually get access to.
Sure.
So you're the teenager, Matt, and I take the cell phone away from you. Then what do you do with that?
I sit here, I tell you how terrible you are. I've lost my friends. Nobody's going to like me. And I just scream at you until I slam my door, and then I try to get a burner phone from my friend.
Right.
That's pretty much it.
And then, like, when mom and dad, like, when we can't tolerate that, tension anymore, then we're finally like, fine. Here, you can have your phone on these days, whatever. So
we start negotiating. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You can have a little crack.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
And only on Tuesdays.
Yes. So what we want to do with this event is to say, let's start having these conversations as a community. Let's get on the same page as to what actually is going on when our kids can access the internet, whether that be YouTube or social media or some other gaming system online. It's all those things. So it's not just social media, right? It's all those things. What are they getting access to? What does that mean for them? And then what can we do as parents to address these issues? How can we navigate the world of social media when most of the kids have smartphones? Are there alternatives? Yes, we know that there are alternatives. That's really hard to say together.
There are alternatives. That is the difficult.
Yes. And so one of the things what we're doing is this.
Is there going to be coffee at the event? Because as I'm sipping this, it's so good. I feel like, did you know that the Renaissance actually coincided with the sterilization or better sterilization of water in England, which also coincided to more tea and coffee drinking? So like the Renaissance coincided with all of England getting jacked up on caffeine and be like, oh, this is great, instead of drinking gin and beer all day and being in like this depressed, terrible state. Like, we need to offer teenagers a life filled with, maybe caffeine, but this like fertile world where they live in and they have peers that are not stuck to these addictive mechanisms. And it's like, what could we do? Like today's Saturday, what could we do if we just were unleashed onto a world that was suited for us?
Right. So we are going to have speakers in the auditorium. We're going to have workshops in the classroom, and then we're going to have a vendor and organization fair in the cafeteria. I'm excited about this because we're bringing out of state speakers in to talk about technology and families and homes. Another speaker is going to be talking about what she sees as a smartphone alternative. She works in that space and data around those different types of things. So that'll be fascinating. And then we are going to have one of our very own Boise State professors who leads the Communities for Youth talk about, okay, now that we know these things, what do we do with this information? And how do we work through and create that upstream prevention to be able to help our kids today? And then in our workshops, this is actually, so I have this flyer sitting in front of me and I brought it to a class last night at Boise State because I'm a student there. And I put it out because I wanted her to have it because she works, I think, at the State Board of Education. And she looked at the pictures and she pointed at your face and she was like, I know that guy.
Wait, who is this?
One of my peers.
Professor.
No, it's like
one of the peers.
Like one of my PhD fellow students. She pointed at your face and she's like, I know that guy. Like I saw him at such and such. And I was like, oh yeah, that's Matt. He's my producer. Yeah. So
that dumb face.
You and Officer Gomez are going to be doing like a Fortify Your Kids one. We have the Dignity Index coming in from Utah. We have, and then there's just going to be a couple different workshops, right? Like you can have like a more intimate experience than, in an auditorium. And then it's like this tech expo / organizations that are in the community. So if you're an organization that wants to be a part of it because you're doing something to help create social experiences for kids or teenagers, get a hold of us because we want you to be there because we want to share those resources and it's free. Vendors don't have to pay us anything. We just want them to come in and so that our community can see and have access to stuff. Yes, we know that you could go online and you could type in to ChatGPT, what are great smartphone alternatives? And you could see those. What's great about this is that these companies are going to have their product right there with them. So you're going to be able to see it. You're going to be able to ask all those questions that you are curious about. And it's not just for teenagers. There are smartphone alternatives for adults too. And also products that we can bring into our home that are going to help us with the internet. They're going to help us with too much internet. Like there's this thing called the brick and it locks down your phone. You have to touch, tap your phone to the brick. A lot of people put it on their fridge. So that's often, adults are integrating those because adults are realizing I'm on my phone too much and I need to stop being there. So it's not, that's what's kind of cool about this is that it's not just for teenagers, it's for adults too. And so anyways, I hope that I'm conveying about how excited I am about this and that I really want people to be there because ultimately it's inspired by the book, The Anxious Generation by Dr. Jonathan Haidt that came out a year ago. So the other thing that's really cool about this is that Idaho we've never had anything like this before. So it's the first of its kind, bringing people together intentionally as a community to say, this is what's going on. We want to be aware of it. We want to address it. And we know that we're going to be more successful if we can get as many of our community members on the same page as possible.
Man, there's a lot that I like about this. I have to tell you, I've been thinking a lot about how to convey this to people and how this relates to me. Because look, I don't have a problem with tech addiction. I can not be on my phone and I have mechanisms in my life. It's like, hey, look, really try to be off your phone between 5 and 8. You're at home. There are no emergencies between 5 and 8. Just, little things like that. But I could also have a drink or a glass of wine. I don't have that gene that makes me go off the rails. And I'm sympathetic, but I've been trying to figure out how to explain this to people in different terms. One thing for my personal life that I'm very embarrassed about is that when I moved to Idaho, I did not have friends. I didn't know who the people were, what was going on, any of that stuff. And to that end, I ended up hanging out with a lot of people that drank a lot. And those were the only people I met. And it was all of a sudden 6 months in, it's like, oh my gosh, we get together and drink 3 or 4 nights a week. Whereas, before I moved here, it's like, once a week I'd have a beer, or like I'd go multiple weeks without having alcohol. Like it just wasn't a thing for me. And when I realized that and realized like, okay, look, you gotta start over. You gotta essentially move here again where you don't know anyone. You have to not go to those things. The only thing that really got me through that was rediscovering a community that I integrated myself into, which was jiu-jitsu. I'm a big fan of jiu-jitsu and I've been doing it for a long time. And I forced myself to start going twice a day to like be around these people. To all of a sudden, it's like people I didn't know before, I started becoming friends with because I was going to classes at times that I didn't go before. So I was meeting people. We had shared goals. People that were getting engaged in competitions started coming up and asking me questions because I am, in fact, quite skilled at jiu-jitsu. So I was able to contribute to them. Again, I became part of a community. That's what pulled me out of addictive style behavior. That's what helped me get past losing friends that I thought were close friends, and then realize like, look, even if they are close friends, they live a life that is not good for you, Matt. Like maybe it works for them. It doesn't work for me. That's what our teens need from us. If they are going to break free of the shackles of social media, they need communities around them that they can integrate into, that they can learn from, that they can contribute to, that they can rely on in the same way they relied on their digital community. Because if we don't replace them with positive communities, it's just going to reinforce the idea that they have nothing without their phone, right? Because they're going to be like, well, I have nothing else. I have nothing. Like without my phone, I have no friends. I can't talk. I can't do anything. It's like, that's going to be terrible. It's going to lead to different, and potentially worse social relationships within a household. Because if it doesn't get replaced with something and that anxiety and frustration for the teens builds up, they will find ways around you. You will create scurrilous, scoundrelly actions and characters out of your children if we don't help them integrate into something else that draws their attention and their life away from these unhealthy habits. Like this, I've seen this play out in my adult life. We have to do something at the community level to bring children a different community alternative.
Oh, that's like such a good example that you offer. Like,
it's so embarrassing.
No, but thanks for sharing it because it is a really good example and, a great visual of what that looks like in an adult's life.
Right.
Right. In your life in particular. And so what I think, the name more social, less media, when I think of that, I think of like just less tech, less things that are pulling us away from social experiences. We need more social experiences. It's the connection that helps us through life, connection to self, connection to others. And so one of the things that I was talking about with Dr. Megan Smith, like I'm a PhD student, so I wanted to they did it was just so funny. I was like talking to her the other day and I was like, it starts with a D. No, it's a manuscript. They were doing like a manuscript thing. And so I wanted to understand it in action because I'm, going through those things in my own schooling experience. And so I wanted to see it with her group. And as she was going through it, they were talking about data. And I was looking at some of the data that was up there. And I was like, wait a second. I thought social media was just played a far bigger picture in a teenager's life. And, it was a certain percentage, but I thought it would be far more. And she's like, it's not a defining characteristic in a kid's life. And I was like, well, I think as a mom, maybe I might feel differently, especially with one of my kids, it has been very defining for them. And she basically was like, well, there's a lot of things that are leading to kind of our teenagers being isolated and feeling alone. And, then that leads to, it connects with depression. It connects with other, issues. And so it's how can we come together and create more social experiences? And I think sometimes adults, I found myself in this camp, my kids come home and it's been a long day. Maybe I've been at the Capitol, I've been recording a podcast, I've had a meeting, whatever, and I haven't been able to get to my school stuff. So I'm in my room because I like to be warm and cozy and I've got my fireplace on, and I might be sitting on the couch.
Do you have a heater blanket?
No.
You need to get a heater blanket because you can just especially if you don't have the fireplace on, fire up that heater blanket, wait 30 minutes, and then you crawl into bed. And it's like being in a bed that's also a hot tub. And when it's cold outside too, it's the business.
Yeah, I got to do that because I'm even my fingers right now, I'm like, oh, they're cold. So but my kids come home and they
turn on the heater.
No, it's fine. And my kids come home and they see me on my computer. And I intentionally say, I'm like, oh, I'm working on schoolwork right now. or I'm finishing up, like I'm doing some editing, because I don't want my kids to think that I'm just like dinking around on the internet because I have nothing better to do. Or it's like, wait, taking my time away or something like that. And so, but even like, I mean, I spend a lot of time on my phone because I'm doing editing and I'm doing all this. I know you do editing on your computer. I mostly do it on my phone.
I don't know how you do that. You'll have to show me one day.
Yeah, it's like super quick, slick, and easy. But
could I say something really fast?
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually, okay, I turned on the heater for you, but it's really, really loud. That's not the thing I want to say though. What I do want to say is I'm actually doing I have a booth coming up at BSU career day. That's like media and audio video stuff. Career day. I got invited to. I'm like, yeah, I'd love to come. Like, this sounds fantastic. But I think the idea that all media and all social media is bad and shouldn't be integrated at any level, I think that can be a limiting thing too. Because, for instance, I had a student, big family, 6 kids, and worked with a bunch of kids. And the oldest daughter, who I didn't get a chance to work with for SAT prep, but I did end up, she started a podcast and I helped her with it. And she was also doing sales. She was doing pipeline development, sales. They were having her make video content that she could farm out to people. And she'd be like, let me tell you the 3 things that make this great. And then it was like the 3 things. She'd be like, boom, boom, boom. And she would be doing this. And then she'd edit in text and whatnot. So the capacity to create on phones and on video editors and have something that can go out on social media is not a bad thing. And even from a professional standpoint, it can be very beneficial, but we have to help steer kids away from, this is your only social interaction and this is where all of your friends live and you have to engage with it this way, to, hey, this is a really good tool. You just need to know how to use the tool.
For sure.
Anyway,
totally.
I'm sorry. Totally interrupted you.
No, it was fantastic.
I just want to learn how you do it on your phone.
I can teach you that. So, and then I think the other thing that I'm like really excited about this for the Dignity Index to, have their material there, is that the Dignity Index is all about like, how do we navigate these conversations and how do we do it in a way where we're offering kindness to people, even if we disagree or even if our perspective, doesn't align with theirs. And to me, that is far more, I mean, it really spans all of life, not just, this conversation about, tech in our kids' lives. And I mean, I know that for me, I have started to hear and see a lot more just conversations that are happening in parking lots that are blowing my mind in terms of like what is happening. And to me, and like even some like people, I would say like in my extended family, like just don't know how to navigate hard conversations. And the reality is that like the division of the national level has come all the way down to the local level. And so one of the things that like for me,
could I add to your conversation criticism?
Yeah.
I have a dear friend who was walking through Home Depot recently, and there was somebody in the Home Depot, a dude, wearing the "Everyone is Welcome Here" shirt, which, kind of infamous or famous, depending on whoever you are, throughout Idaho now. And there was some woman giving him a hard time. And here they're standing in the middle of Home Depot because this guy was wearing a shirt, and this gal, unrelated to him and unrelated to his business at Home Depot, came up and wanted to let him know what she thought about his shirt. And it's like, what planet are we living on that you can just put on a shirt and go to Home Depot and somebody feels like it's their right and it's their duty and it's the best use of their time and your time for them to come up and just let you know, I'm going to tell you what's up with your shirt and why you're wrong and why I don't like it and why you're bad for kids in the middle of Home Depot. Like I have a doorknob and a stick of lumber and it's like somebody's like, where? This is Idaho. What happened to freedom? Live and let live. What happened to freedom from like getting accosted at Home Depot? It's like the Dignity Index and retraining our minds. It's like, this is a bad play. Like if you think that going up to a stranger and giving them a hard time about their t-shirt is a good play, you need to rework the playbook. That's not a good look. It's not a good look. It's not a good play. It's not good for our community. It's not the way Idaho is. That is BS. And frankly, I'll be really clear with you. I moved from my former state, the state that shall not be named. I moved from it because there were people like that, at least in part, right? There's definitely one of the top 3 reasons, but they were on the other side. So these were left-leaning people that were going to tell you what was up. They were going to steal. There was this old gal who voted for Trump, and she had a Trump yard sign, and people were stealing her yard sign, and she had to put up a note next to her sign saying like, hey, I'm 80. I remember like I have family members that like would talk to me about like women fighting for the right to vote. Like I should have the freedom to have the sign up. Please don't steal this. It's like, that's what it was. This is bad behavior. It's bad community participation. It is terrible. Like, we need to nationally, but starting at a local level, we need to relearn how to engage or not engage with people. Just let them go. Let them go on their way. Copying a key, buying a doorstop. I don't care what it is. Just let them go.
Let them go. Well, what you're saying just kind of reminds me of something that you mentioned once in regards to tech and kids, and that parents are this, like, we are the solution to this problem, meaning that like we need to address this in a way that's going to help our kids' lives. And so when it comes to this division that is on the national level, that's made its way down to the local level, we as community members, we have to be the ones to solve this problem. I have, and I'm going to say it, zero faith in my national leaders to address this problem. And I'm talking across the board. Yeah. I'm not targeting us. I'm talking across the board, because they're all yelling at each other on social media. I mean, I told you once that I like have trained my algorithm to show me, as I'm flipping through, things across the spectrum. I want to see all of it. Meaning I want to hear what everyone is kind of talking about. And what I'm noticing is that like people are mean. People are mean, and they're mean to each other's faces. And then it goes up on social media and we're seeing it, and we become desensitized. And then we think that's normal behavior. And then all of a sudden you see it in the Home Depot while you're walking around just to get a doorknob. Like,
he just wanted a light bulb.
And I just like walk in.
It's a barbecue cleaner.
Yeah. So it's like,
I keep trying to make sure the products change. Like every time I repeat that.
Yes, I'm loving it. It's so fantastic.
Next time it's going to be lawn fertilizer.
So it's important for us then, in my mind, to address this intentionally. Like, we have to address these things intentionally. Someone has to be willing to, put forth the effort. And I'm really grateful for the organizations that are putting forth the effort to do this. I'm grateful for the organizations who are advertising. I'm grateful for the school districts who have said, we want this in our community. We're going to be sharing it out across the board on this thing. So I would love it if every school district took this PDF flyer and shared it on their social medias, shared it in their newsletter, like told the teenagers to like tell their parents to come, and the teenagers can come too. Like, we need more people engaged in meaningful like topics that impact all of us, that really bring us together. Because I'm telling you, this more social, less media is not political. It is a community impacted thing. And that's one of the reasons that Idaho PTA is addressing this, because we are saying we stand up for all Idaho kids. We want to bring parents together. We want to bring community members together. And this is something that I believe everyone can get on board with. It's going to look different in your home, Matt, that it does in mine. But if we both have information that's going to help us in our homes and help our school leaders in the schools and help the YMCA leaders while they've got kids, in their care, all of the people, the coaches, all of it, we are going to be a better and stronger school community for it.
God bless that. I've told you about Rat Park before, right? Like when this came up, and when I spoke with Dr. Megan Smith as well, and she started taking a community-centric approach, which is like our individuals will exhibit behaviors that are at least in some degree a function of the community that they exist in. So it's like the community is the problem. The kids are just spinning off whatever behavior is being provided or steered by the community. And again, this comes back to the so like the rat part, the prevailing thought around drugs, right, in the 70s and 80s was like, oh, okay, so the problem is that this stuff is really addictive. Like, look at this little rat, or this, giant wall of rats in cages. And, we give them normal water, and we give them, I think it's like cocaine laced water or something. And they'll drink the cocaine laced water, and like they won't eat, and they'll die. Right. And it's like, oh my God, that's terrible. Like, cocaine is terrible. Now, cocaine is terrible. I assume I've never tried it, and I'm not trying it now. Like, I needed to have like a whole slew of fewer things going on in my life and be like 20 years younger and be like, that's a great idea. I had too many things going on when I was 22, and now I'm 43. And it's like, it's over. No cocaine for Matt. But the point is that sentiment, like I did the DARE program when I was a kid. I'm like, wow, that's really, really terrible. And yeah, drugs are bad. No problem. the problem is that, again, as we're kind of understanding in a broader context with cell phones, is like, but that's not the whole story. Yeah, cocaine can be a problem. Cell phones can be a problem. What the research has done, I believe, is in the late 70s, they were like, okay, but look at the situation the rat's in. It's in this steel cage. Like rats are mammals. They mate, they make babies, they play with each other. Like this is like, isolation for humans, which is, we don't even do that except in extreme circumstances in jail. Like this is not good, right? So they got these rats. This was the experiment. They took these rats, they put them in the isolation, and they gave them the cocaine to like get a rat. Like the little rat. Because they have that little dropper thing. Yeah. So they get the rats addicted to cocaine, and then they take them out of isolation and they put them in this gigantic rat park. And the rat park had things to play on, and it had other rats that they could socialize with. And then they could find a mate and like make babies and raise little rat baby families. And they could play with all these things. And they still gave them the cocaine water, but they also gave them the normal water. They gave them the options. And the cocaine addicted rats always weaned themselves off because they had a better life. They had a life that was engaged socially. They had a life with rat goals of making babies and taking care of them. They had rat friends that they would wrestle around with. Rats are hyper playful. They wrestle around all the time for fun. Like you had these things that were meaningful on a deeper level. And if offered those things, the rats did not want to become drug addicts. They wanted to become moms and dads, and they wanted to become friends, and they wanted to become, curious little monsters running through whatever world they had there. And, as you and I have fought this battle against tech pretty much since we met, seeing the broader picture of our children be put in situations where this appears to be the best option for them, that it like hurts to think about that. It's like, what am I failing as a parent to provide from a community standpoint, from an option standpoint? Like, where's the engagement? Now, mind you, this tech is really good, right? Like it's really good. When I ripped the iPads out of my kids' hands, a couple years back, and they only got them as a response to COVID. They didn't have them before. And when we finally realized what was happening, like it was really hard. The tech is really good, and they still get them on rare occasions, and it is difficult, and we know what is coming. It literally takes 3 days to wean them off it. But airplanes and stuff, it's like they can watch movies and sometimes they play games, like whatever it is. But dude, I understand these are hard, but for the last couple of years, I have put such an investment into providing a richer environment for my kids to play, for them to socialize, for them to engage in long-term, meaningful pursuits. And that has made a huge difference. It has made a huge difference. Now they're too tired from track or from basketball or from water polo or, from whatever, hanging with friends, from whatever it might be. Like they're too tired. They're too engaged. They never ask about iPads now because they have a richer life. Yes. So here's the thing. I'm telling everyone, please. This coffee is hitting hard. I feel so passionate about this right now. You're like, don't you love how you can do that to yourself? Like if you can get like a great night's sleep and drink a pot of coffee, and then you're like, I'm going to take on the world. The world. I'm going to fix it right now, today. Right now. So basically, come to the More Social Less Media, a community summit. It's free. It's Saturday, April 26th from 12 to 4 at Eagle High School. You're going to learn from the speakers. You're going to be able to engage in the workshops and ask conversations, and you're going to be able to physically touch products and see what might be best for you in your home or for your kid when it comes to technology or in your classroom. And you're also going to be able to see different organizations that are there to create community experiences for your kids, where your kids can go out and meet different people. And then you're going to be able to learn from the Dignity Index, so that like when you're in your home and you're having these conversations, it's going to help you navigate that with your kids. It's going to help you navigate those conversations like with your community members, with your neighbors. It's going to be beneficial all the way around. So just come. So just come to the thing. Come to the thing. More Social, Less Media, April 26th from 12 to 4, Eagle High School. Yes. I got all the deets right. Yes. And there's going to be like food trucks there. We're getting like food trucks that'll be outside the cafeteria. So like when you're walking around. The only thing I want, it's a coffee truck. You're going to have I'll line it up.
Yeah.
I know a gal who has a coffee truck. I'm a big fan.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll
do
even
that.
spend the $5.
Yeah.
She has a great chai tea.
Yes, do it. And there's lots of information on our website. We do say register now, but it's mostly for us just to keep track of numbers. If you haven't registered, it doesn't matter. Come the day of, and you can stay for as long or as little as is able in your schedule. That's why it's called a summit.
That's fantastic.
We worked really hard on what that word should be. Just so you know.
And this is happening in a West Ada school. Is this sponsored by West Ada? Are they helping spread the word on it?
Yeah. So West Ada is allowing us to use the space for free. And so
That's great.
It's super, I'm really, really grateful to Dr. Derek Bubb for that one. I asked if he wanted their logo anywhere, and he was like, nah, you don't need to worry about that. He's like,
wonderful.
Yeah. So he's like, yep, you guys can have the space. So we're really excited because it does align with what right? Like
they want healthier kids.
Mm-hmm, yep. It all totally aligns. So, yeah, so that's really amazing. And then we have, like I mentioned, like there are some school districts they're going to be like sharing out the information. I imagine that, Derek is going to have the West Ada do it as well. We just have to give him the information. So and we have social media people that are sharing it. It's on different calendars.
I'll get a hold of Marsing, Middleton, Valley View, Nampa.
Middleton's already on board.
Oh, heck yeah.
They are like way
Let's
pumped
get
about
the whole
this.
Treasure Valley. Like, let's get people here. It's going to take collective action. To pull from Jonathan Haidt's book, we need collective action. We need a community response to this because we will not develop areas for our wide variety of interests, different kids, different interests, different engagements unless we have collective action. This is really important.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, bless it.
So I did want to ask you, since I'm here, and people don't usually ask you questions, Matt, on your show, but I'm going to because I'm like kind of curious because then I'm like, you're here doing your thing on your podcast and you're just like rocking and rolling. We're up really early this morning. People are sending you, you're getting a lot of engagement on your website, right? People are like sending you things that are happening in their communities that they want you to be aware of so that, those topics can be addressed,
Sure.
right? Find the information. So what's next for the Ranch podcast? Because this has continued to grow and so not only what's next for the Ranch podcast, but also give me like a synopsis of what this legislative session was and has meant for you. I want both of those things.
Thank you for the question.
Sure thing.
We just switched to Our Kids Are School podcast. Thank you, host Alexis. So what's next? I would say, obviously we're coming out of the legislative session, which has been so incredible. I think I've done over 160 episodes in the last 80 days.
Oh my gosh.
Which has been, I've been averaging, I think 15 a week. And it has been wild. Different types of episodes. Like I think you and I are very comfortable, talking for over an hour. We've done episodes before that are, multi-hour. And for these, they had to be really short. It was like, you had 20 to 40 minutes. I essentially scheduled hour windows. So I couldn't even sit down and share coffee with people because like I did 5 episodes yesterday. 5 interviews straight through back to back to back to back.
Good thing you have coffee to drink though for yourself.
I don't have it downtown.
But you do have beef jerky. I do know that.
I ran out months ago.
Oh my gosh.
So I had a banana. And then I feel bad because sometimes people show up early. So I don't have a 5-minute break to, run to the bathroom and slam a banana. So then I have to eat the banana in front of them. I feel really bad. I'm like, oh, tell me more. But it has been really incredible to meet the number of legislators that I did to understand. I was telling Lauren Necochea, the head of the Democratic Party today. She was in there, and we were talking about bills that were getting run. And I had Dr. Jacqueline Kettler, who's a BSU poli-sci professor, on a couple of weeks ago, and she was mentioning we were talking about all the different reasons people run bills. There could be 10 reasons. Only one of them is actually to get the bill passed. Right. So there are 9 other reasons that people even present bills in the legislature that the average populace doesn't understand. So people get very worked up about oh my gosh, can you believe what they're talking about? It's like, listen, that's sitting in a drawer. That was something that was a throwaway to a constituent that was really worked up. You might have a constituent group that is very, very upset about something. You as a legislator may know it's not going anywhere. And you're like, All right, but to appease them, because they got the ear of everybody, I'm going to try to run this bill. It's not going to work. I'll even make it be super inflammatory so it absolutely doesn't work. They'll be happy because I will have run it, and then I'll be like, the legislature wouldn't work with me, guys. Like, I'm really sorry. And then I get reelected. I have no expectation that the bill is going to pass. I'm totally just appeasing people. There are all of those types of things. So understanding that it's like, okay, paying attention to what gets talked about, yeah, at some level, but paying attention to what makes it out of committee and then onto the floor, then it's like, okay, these are the things that matter. And then paying attention to what actually gets passed, because, you know, the governor signed a lot of things this year, and we have the conversation around what he's done has been dominated really by like one or two things. You know, like there's more to it. Everybody criticizes, are we really arguing about this thing? Here's a perfect example. The issue in Nampa, where there was the Pride Festival last year and two biological dudes show up that had surgery on their chest to make it look like they had female breasts. And they were bare chested, and Representative Cornelius had to pass a bill that said essentially, look, male or female, if you have female presenting breasts, you got to cover up at least a small portion of it. We won't go into details. And people flipped out about it. They're like, I can't believe we've wasted our time on this thing. It's like, okay, first off, Nampa doesn't think it was a waste of time, because a lot of Nampa residents were like, look, can we do something about this? And their representative responded. He did something about it. Second, there's a lot of other stuff that happened. You know, we passed a $50 million budget item to help bridge the gap in school communities that don't have enough tax base to afford for revisions or creations of either additional schools or upgrades to their schools. That's important. $50 million is a drop in the bucket. Fine. But it's $50 million. And that will mean a lot to at least 10 different school districts. So that's important. We have water, we have forest fire funding. We have like all of these different things that have gone on that no one knows about. We have a Department of Insurance, the director, Dean Cameron, Department of Insurance, that's sitting around waiting for you to call if you have a problem with your homeowner's insurance, if your insurance carrier drops you, if they're gouging you, if they won't supply you with reimbursement, if you have a claim. They're sitting around waiting for you. And Idaho is actively trying to court more insurance carriers so that we collectively as consumers do not lose our home insurance. Like, there are all of these things that Idaho is doing. And so much of that gets lost in the noise around, you know, like one bill or one proposed bill that didn't even go anywhere. So that's a really big thing that I learned this year. And it gave me comfort. Now, I don't love everything that happened, right? Totally fine. But there are good people. And man, no matter what, there are two sides to that pancake. No matter who came in and said something crazy, I knew if I could just find the person on the opposite side, I may not agree with them, or I may agree with them and realize I totally disagree with the first person. I was like, wait a minute, you didn't tell me about that thing, and that other thing, right? That makes this make so much more sense. Oh my gosh. You know, like, there are all kinds of things like that. It's like, it seems that people have a vested interest in just holding back that one detail, just holding back that one little thing. So people are like, this is terrible. And man, it's not like that. It's not like that. Like, yeah, some people we can say like they're not the best, but by and large, I think people are trying hard, you know, and there are a lot of different ways to skin the cat, right?
Yes. So thank you for your first answer for the first question. And
that was actually the second question.
That was actually the second question.
I found that. What's next?
Yeah. What's next for the Ranch podcast? Where are you going? What are you doing?
So I would say like in the next 9 months, this is going to be lit. Okay. Think of the next 9 months in 3 different phases. Between now and let's say August is going to be ag, agro-tourism, rec, hunting, fishing, like restaurant, all super cool. The Beef Council has this a statewide burger battle in the month of May, which is going to be lit. And by the way, the last time to register for that is the end of March. So you have like 3 or 4 days. So if you're a restaurant and you want to be considered in the burger battle, register, go to the Beef Council. I think it's like, just Google it. I don't know what the website is for the Beef Council. And I talked to a dump truck of legislators about them, and most of the legislators had their favorite burger place. I'm like, I will come to Soda Springs. I will come to Coeur d'Alene. I will come to Twin. Like, tell me when and where. I'm going to Judd's. I'm going to Hudson's. I'm going to One Shot Charlie's. Like, I'm going to get the burgers. That's going to be super exciting. There are so many places like we have an Idaho Trails Association that maintains these trails. I want to talk to the chief of fire, Mark Niemeyer, for Boise, because they're preparing the Boise River for the rec timeframe. And I want to talk to the director of ag that's going to, of course, be fighting the quagga mussel issues, like all of these people. So that's in between now. Oh, a wine country too. I'm not a big wine guy, so I'm going to get my own spittoon that's going to say like the ranch on it, because we have this incredible wine industry here. And again, I'm not a big drinker and I'm not a big wine drinker, but I do know how to enjoy wine, and I would love to hear why people are doing this. Like, the wine industry is classically a very hard industry to make a buck on. And yeah, so like I'm excited about all those things. Then August to November, oh my God, we have the entire Treasure Valley is going through city council, mayoral, depending on who you are, school board, commissioners of all kinds of things. I'm going to try to hit every single city, every single election, and have, from Caldwell and Nampa and Cuna, Meridian, Eagle, Garden City, and just give me the whole Boise, hit everyone and be a resource. So for the first time, the entire Treasure Valley can hear directly from people running for a school board, fire commissioner, mayor, city council at length. Great conversations. And then November to, oh my God, this is going to be lit. November to December, I think is going to be the time when I start the governor candidate interviews. It's going to be, I am going to get a hold of everybody running, because it's going to be the primary, right? Like, that's going to be when it really matters. And yeah, I can do that during the session, but I want to start in the November to December timeframe and essentially get a hold of all of them in good faith and say, look, it's going to be unlimited time. Bring a lunch.
Bring a burger for Matt.
Bring a burger. And we are going to talk from education to fire to public lands to ag to every industry in the state. We're going to talk about data centers. We're going to talk about water reclamation. Like, we're going to talk about everything. And I don't think that's ever been done. I don't think that's ever been done in the state of Idaho. I don't know anyone who's had like a 2 or 3 hour open question interview with the governor and then posted it on like Instagram. And then I'll post those. I'm going to drop those out in 4-part series. So it's going to be like part 1, forestry, part 2, education. And I'm also very hopeful. I think this is a good idea. The Capitol Sun is the only media outlet that hasn't trashed on me recently.
Oh my gosh, those media outlets. Oh my gosh.
I heard from a legislator recently who was in a law school course, and they had these guest speakers came in, and the ranch came up from this guest speaker who was a journalist, and she had positive things to say. I was like, that's a first, but I want to partner with them and propose, look, I'll do these interviews and I will release them to you before anyone. And you guys pick them apart and write whatever articles you want, and then we will co-publish as partners. So you won't be publishing something coming off the YouTube channel. It's like, you'll have the full interview weeks before they get published, and then we can work together to bring this to the people.
Have you had this conversation with the Capitol Sun?
I thought about it last night. I texted her. I sent her a note on LinkedIn this morning. No, but like, how lit would that be?
Very.
It would be great. We will be able to see our state like we never have before, and reach them both on social medias, on YouTube, on the written word. Yeah. So that's the rest of this year. And then next year, forget it. Like, in the first 4 months of next year, it's going to be the legislative session and the primary.
Whoa.
Like, I'm going to need to get a dude across overseas to be doing my editing, because I can't do it all by myself.
No, not anymore.
No, not anymore.
No, not anymore. Whoa.
It'll be great.
That's amazing.
It'll be amazing.
That's super awesome.
Yeah. So, that's what is in my wheelhouse for the next 7, 8, 9 months.
Hey, I love that. And I love that for you.
Love that for you. I was hoping that was coming.
Yeah, I love that for you.
I'm super excited. And it's not just the coffee. I'm super excited. It's going to be lit.
I'm like way excited. And I love just being this person over here that gets to watch the whole thing, unfold is super awesome. I love it. I think one of my favorite things is when the ranch comes up, or like Matt Todd or someone sees your picture. They're like, I know that dude. And I'm like, oh yeah, cool. No.
I hear he's a jerk. Probably. We should start spreading rumors about me if anybody brings it up. It's like, have you seen his tattoo? And then be like, he deleted it off Instagram a year ago. It was wild.
Oh my
And be like,
gosh.
it was like a dragon or like a
my
lion or like an eagle dragon lion.
Oh my gosh. All I know is
An
that
American flag.
all I know is that I'm seeing my husband in your sweatshirt more and more. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. This is what we need. This was from Napoleon Dynamite, which also was filmed in Idaho.
Yeah, Preston.
They started Pedro or
Vote for Pedro.
no, it wasn't Napoleon Dynamite. It was American Pie. When they started the rumor, wasn't that the film where the guy intentionally started a rumor about himself that like he had, like that was his play to gain popularity to get like voted in office. And then they found out and then somebody spiked his drink with like X-Lax and he had to like run to the bathroom.
Gross. Oh my gosh.
Come on. These are hilarious stories. You never saw American Pie?
No, I never watched that one.
Dude, it was such a great movie.
All I can see is Dan Levy's face. That's all I can see at the moment.
He's so great. I love that. Have you seen Waiting for Guffman?
No, but I have seen Schitt's Creek.
Oh, it was great.
That one was funny.
Waiting for Guffman and Best in Show.
No, Eugene Levy, not Dan Levy. Eugene Levy.
David. Because David's his son.
Yes, Dan.
In Schitt's Creek, yeah.
Yes. And Alexis is the sister. The daughter. Alexis. I met someone once. I like first introduced myself. They were like, oh, and I was like, oh, my name's Alexis. And I like put my hand out and she was like, Alexis. And I was like, oh, you've seen that show.
Oh,
it was kind of funny.
I appreciated that show so much because it was the greatest representation of self-determination and personal agency like ever. Because especially around that time, there was a large sentiment that within the American public that if you had something, you got it through nefarious or like undeserved means. And that was this beautiful show of these people who had so much and were so removed from the world. They had that like 12-foot family portrait, like in the first scene, right? Gosh. They're losing it. And then they like end up in this horrendous motel and they have nothing. And what does Eugene Levy do? He borrows a desk in a mechanic's shop and he has a legal pad and he just starts writing down ideas. And like he slowly, with his eyeballs open, looking throughout the world, was like, what can I offer? And he realizes Stevie, the owner of the motel, is like, oh, she needs help. And then he just slowly starts applying what he knows. And then she finally applies like the last piece. She's like, we don't need 2 motels. We need 30 motels. Right. And she holds up his book of like, you wrote this 20 years ago. And he was like, shh, you're right. And they crawl out of the pit of despair. And I so appreciated that. It was like, God, man, they portrayed this like new American style dream of like different styles of families and different styles of goals and different styles of making it work. Because Alexis, of course, becomes a phenom in like PR, which is like, who would have thought of that? And the mom is this, ridiculous. Oh my God. Anyway. Yeah. I love that movie. I don't know why I'm going off on it.
Yeah. That TV show is fantastic.
Yeah. TV show. Excuse me.
One of the things that I heard, like it was Dan and Eugene Levy in an interview kind of talk about this idea that like, what if we could create a show that demonstrated a world in which people weren't necessarily like, they were flawed individuals who did different things, but in general, like they came together and like helped each other and they were kind. Like, I mean, yeah, like sometimes you see like rude people in the show, but it's just this idea of what would that look like in a family? What would that look like in a community? And I just like thought that was like pretty cool. Like in a way that was like, oh, wow, your kid tells you something hard. How do you handle that? Like, do you get angry with them and like kick them out? Or are you like, okay, like we're going to work through this thing. And like there's humor and Moira says like the funniest things that are just.
But to your point, that's such a beautiful sentiment. And you see that portrayal of Moira when she loses her mind and she's hiding in the closet and they have nothing. And you do not see the parents fracture. You see the dad stand by his wife. He's telling Dave, he's like, your mother's in a bad way. And like, he's in hell too. Mm-hmm. It's not like he's not living in the motel. It's not like he's not, can't afford the meal at the diner. Like he's in hell too. And when she falls down, he doesn't kick her. He like stands by the closet door waiting for her to come out. Like that. That's just beautiful.
It is really beautiful.
God bless those guys.
Yeah, God bless Schitt's Creek.
Alexis, listen, I got to call because I got to go to the school to do something.
Yes.
thank you for coming today. Thank you for the More Social, Less Media. Thank you for helping put this together. There are a lot of people coming together to collaborate this. I really hope the Treasure Valley takes advantage of this. I want to reach out to school districts. I know I'm going to share this on the socials. We need people coming here for our kids. Let's make this happen.
Fantastic.